I did something stupid. I had the safe corporate job, the direct deposit, the whole 9 yards, and I threw it all away. My parents are staging an intervention. My friends think I've lost my mind. Why? Because I found out that everything we've been told about building a career, about how the economy actually works, is a lie. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Seriously, think about it. We're all fed the same story, right? Go to college, get a good job at a big, stable corporation, and just climb. For 40 years, we're told that's where the opportunity is. But the actual numbers, the real data, tell a completely different and, frankly, a much more exciting story. This right here is the chart that broke my brain. We're taught to think that giant companies are the engine of job growth. But look, since 1995, small businesses have created over 60% of all net new jobs in the US. That's not a small difference. The little guys, the freelancers, the side hustlers, we're not the exception. We're the rule. And seeing this made me realize I had to do something. So, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. For the next 30 days, I am quitting my life and becoming a one-person business. I'm starting with absolutely nothing. No clients, no income, no safety net. Just me, my car, and a whole lot of anxiety. This is day one of the grand experiment. And listen, here's where you come in. If this explainer gets 100,000 likes, I will do this all over again, but for 60 days, with a totally different hustle. That means my next 2 months of suffering are literally in your hands. So please do the right thing. Smash that like button and subscribe, because you are not going to want to miss how this train wreck unfolds. Okay, let's do this. All right, so how do you even start something like this? You can't just wake up one day and say, I am a business now. I mean, you can, but you'll probably just end up broke. I needed a battle plan. I had to figure out what this world of one-person businesses was all about. And, of course, there's a super boring technical term for it, a non-employer firm. It sounds awful, right? But all it means is a business of one. No boss, no coworkers, just you. And as it turns out, I wasn't just starting a tiny business. I was joining a secret army. Just look at that number. Nearly 35 million small businesses in the US. And get this, the vast majority, over 80% of them, are these one-person shows, these non-employer firms. This isn't some niche little thing. It's a massive, invisible workforce that's changing everything. So the only question was, which platoon was I going to join? So I dove into the data. Where was the growth? Unsurprisingly, courier and taxi services are exploding thanks to all the apps on our phones. But there's also been huge growth for janitorial services and independent creatives. I needed something I could jump into immediately, with basically zero startup costs. So I made my choice. And just like that, the experiment was live. The next 30 days were a complete blur, a whirlwind of early mornings, endless driving, and a frankly unhealthy amount of coffee. This is what the grind actually looks like. Day one. Look at me, so optimistic, so naive. The sun's shining, I've got a full tank of gas, and a completely misplaced sense of confidence. I thought, this is it? Freedom! I'm my own boss. Oh, you sweet summer child. And here we are just 2 weeks later. Day 15. The car is now a certified biohazard. My entire personality is caffeine and anxiety. And that freedom I was so excited about, turns out it feels a lot like being bossed around by a smartphone app for pennies. The dream was fading fast. Then you get a day like this. Day 22. Look at that haul. A monumental victory. I made almost enough for a slice of pizza. Maybe two. You learn to celebrate these tiny wins. But as the month wore on, a much bigger, much darker question started creeping into my mind. Okay, so I was making some money. I was, technically surviving. But when you zoom out and look at the actual statistics for new businesses, you realize you're not standing in a field of opportunity. You're standing in a graveyard. So that became the real question, right? I was grinding away day after day, but was I actually building anything that would last? Or was I just delaying the inevitable failure? I had to know my actual odds of survival. And the answer? Well, it's not pretty. Check this out. It's what I call the survival funnel. For every 100 businesses like mine that start out full of hope, only about 2/3 make it to year 2. By year 5, more than half are gone. And after 15 years, nearly 3/4 have been wiped off the map. It is brutal. And that it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Statistically speaking, this thing I was pouring all my energy into was doomed from the start. 3 out of 4 fail. The odds were just overwhelmingly stacked against me. And I started to wonder, what's the point? But then I found the twist.
Just when I was about to give up, completely demoralized by the failure stats, I stumbled onto something that changed everything. It turns out that these millions of tiny, often failing businesses are actually the secret ingredient powering the entire American economy. Now, this is the paradox, and it is fascinating. Look at the left side. All of us solo entrepreneurs, combined, only bring in about 4% of total business revenue. We're practically a rounding error. But then look at the right. A study found that the rise of our tiny businesses is responsible for about 1/3 of the entire economy's productivity growth. How on earth is that possible? Okay, this looks like a bunch of academic jargon, but stick with me, this is the key. What it's saying is that since the 80s, the sheer number of businesses per worker has skyrocketed. There are just way more of us out there trying things, and all that trying creates a ton of value. And this is the perfect way to think about it. Every one of us is a tiny economic experiment. Every time one of us tries a new service, finds a better way to do something, or, and this is the important part, every time one of us fails, it creates a data point. Our failures aren't a waste. They teach the entire system what doesn't work, making the whole economy smarter and more efficient. We're like the R&D department for the entire country. Which brings us to the grand finale of my 30-day adventure, the moment of truth. After all the grinding, the gas station lunches, and the existential crises, did I actually make any money? It is time for the big reveal. And there you have it, my massive fortune. $147.32. That's it. That's the grand total. It works out to less than $5 a day. I'm pretty sure I spent more than that on coffee just to stay awake. It's a ridiculously small number, and it's absolutely perfect. Because this was never about the money. My tiny little profit is completely irrelevant. What matters is that millions and millions of people are doing this exact same thing. We're all part of this huge fundamental shift in how people work. We're the experimenters, the innovators, and the ones building the future, even if most of us fail along the way. For decades, we've been told there's only one path to success, but the data shows that path is crumbling. A new one is being paved, not by giant corporations, but by millions of individuals betting on themselves. The future isn't being designed in a boardroom. It's being built, one person at a time, in spare rooms and coffee shops all over the world. The only question left is, are you in?